Happy Wednesday. Oh my God, I'm having a hard time remembering the days of the week. Hi, Lena. I'm Chef Jenny. I'm going to be your instructor today, and welcome to Homemade Cooking. We got a good one today. They're all good, y'all, but we really got a good one today. We are making one of my top 5 favorite desserts of all time, sticky toffee puddings. We're making mini sticky toffee puddings so you can have more and trick yourself into thinking that you're just having little snack bites. And that's what I need in December, is little tricks so I can eat all the carbs. If you're just coming in, we're going to give a second for everyone to come in. I love seeing your beautiful faces. So if you're so willing, please share your cameras. Love to see anyone cooking along with us today. Yeah, Lena is, yes. Well, good. And then we'll always go to your plate, Lena, because they never not looked gorgeous. So that's always comforting for me to know. I'm not here alone, of course. I've got my trusty sidekick, Chef Jen. Chef Jen, say hello to the people.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jenny.
Hi. I mean, Jen's new with us and starting classes. Will it be confusing to have a Chef Jenny and a Chef Jen? No, it won't. Jenny is a great name. It was very popular in the 80s, and we embrace it and celebrate it. So I don't feel like I'm cool enough to pull off a Jen. A Jen had a leather jacket in high school. That was not me. I had braces. So I'm a Jenny. That's top peak coolness. So that's how you're going to tell us apart. Did you ever go by Jenny, Jen? Or you?
I do. People from my childhood call me Jenny.
Okay. Yeah, I never made it past. As people come in, hopefully you guys are doing good and we're filling all the sweets. We're not alone today. Not just the Jens are here, but we're also sponsored by our wonderful friends at Tetley Tea. Unbelievable tea. It is official tea weather here in the Pacific Northwest. Hopefully we've got the tea people on. All the tea lovers are coming in today. I've got my tea right here. We've got this amazing premium black tea from Tetley, and it's delicious. So I'm hoping you all are if you don't, please go and get yourself a cup of tea, because we're less than 2 weeks from Christmas. Is that right? I don't know how that is. I'm still in Thanksgiving mode, so maybe a little tea, maybe a little black tea will be helpful right now. I'm gonna have a little sip here. I love tea. The best. If you're feeling so inclined to make yourself some tea, we got some Tetley tea here. These beautiful tea bags, and we put them in hot water, 3 minutes steep, take it out, and it's ready to go. So I feel like not enough people walk us through how to make tea. So I'm very appreciative to them. They've got a great website, TetleyUSA.com. Chef Jen's going to put that in the chat. Please check them out. They have so much incredible information about tea, all their brands and varieties. They're sold everywhere. I'm just stocking stuffers. I'm putting it out there. If my husband's watching, I would appreciate some tea in my stocking, some English tea. So put it out in the universe. If you're looking for good stocking stuffers, there we go. Jen, are you a tea person?
Yes, and you're drinking my favorite tea, which is English breakfast.
It's like cozy. It's just got enough to give you a pip in the day. I'm all the fills. I'm going to be spending more time drinking the tea than making our pudding, so I'm going to have to focus here. It instantly puts me in blanket in a chair with a book mode, and we've got puddings to make, y'all. If you're new to homemade, these classes are live. We're going to be making our recipes in front of you. Jenna is managing the chat, so please put your questions in. We want to interact with you. If you'd like to ask the questions live, we love that. Just put your hand up, and we ask that you put your camera on, and we'll interact with you that way. Now we've got started. I think we're going to get going here. Welcome, and let's get some puddings started. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, sticky toffee puddings. The main ingredient in these, if you haven't had them before, they are a delicious, moist, spiced cake that is drenched, suffocated in this butter toffee sauce. And then on top of that, because that's not enough, we're gonna make another vanilla custard sauce to go with it. So when you have a bite, you're getting a little bit of the eggy custard, you're getting the rich caramely toffee, and you're getting that moist cake. And you're just gonna keep on and go, and then you have a sip of tea to cleanse the palate, and you go, and then you have 6 cakes, and you don't know what happened. That's my vibe with these. So it's so indulgent and rich. It's just one of my favorites. So the first thing we're starting off with is dates here. I have some dates finely chopped up, and I'm putting a little baking soda over them. I've got my hot water over here. I'm gonna add a cup of hot water over these dates, and I'm just gonna pour this water over and let it steep for about 15 minutes. This is the first step I'm doing. These dates are not fully dried. They've got some moisture in them, and designations of dates, dried dates, is a little different than other dried fruit. So it is good to understand you don't want to buy and start with rock hard dates. You want them to, they'll be a little wrinkly, but we're going to reconstitute these. These are going to absorb the hot water. And then you might be asking yourself, well, why do we have baking soda in there? The baking soda is just to help neutralize some of those tannins, to make sure it's not getting too bitter of a flavor. And then also it's going to help with that dry leathery skin on the outside to actually help break that down so it fully hydrates. And then after 15 minutes, we'll let this mixture, we'll blend it up, and it'll create this beautiful date paste. And that's what's going to give our cake this caramely, really rich flavor. And then it's also, these dates are going to keep the cake really moist. So dates are underutilized. I love baking with dates. A lot of great Eastern European sweetbreads have date mixtures in there. If you can see with me using my hands, I'm Italian, and it's dry dates, so you get that used a lot. Very big in Africa and the Middle East, but Southeast Asia, dates are kind of used everywhere and kind of global, all different types of cooking. I think the thing to understand is that there's a lot of different varieties. Here in the States, there's over 200 varieties of dates. But here in the States, medjool is the most popular one, and one that I think has the most, that really caramely flavor we're looking for. So I've got a date here. If you want to see a whole date, they're actually called dates, if you can believe this or not, Jen. After a Latin word that means finger, because they're so long, they look like fingers.
Cool.
I mean, save that for pub trivia. Yep. You're like, why do I need to know? Just store it away, guys. It might come up. You never know. So we've got our little finger here of date, and these came pitted. If you don't have them pitted, there'll be a little pit inside here. What you can do is press them, or just slowly with a little paring knife cut them and pull them apart. You can see from that stickiness that dates are still going to have a lot of moisture in there, and then we can pull that pit out. And then what might help is to moisten your knife blade a little bit to help cut up, or even put a little spray on it to help cut up dates, because they're very sticky, but we do want to get these cut up. So that's our dates right here. Okay, any questions about this step?
Well, there was a question about the baking soda trick. Does that work with other dried fruits and other baking recipes?
Yeah, I haven't tried it with other dried fruits, but you absolutely, the theory should be the same. So I'd say try it out. Give it a little try and see how it softens. But the theory is the same, as that baking soda helps loosen up the skin a little bit. If you don't have dates, raisins would be a good substitute here. So you can try raisins. Also, we added hot water, but why not add a tea bag into here? Because you can also infuse and get some of that tea flavor into your cake. I think that would be beautiful. You could do half water. You could also it's the holidays. If you want to add a little liquor in there, no, if you're thinking about all the people you're having come over, there's no shame whatsoever. A little brandy, a little rum, a little Grand Marnier. We're going to add rum into our custard sauce, but play around, have some fun. So this is flavorful enough, though, that just hot water will do the trick. So step 1, dates are hydrating. I'm going to treat myself to a tea break because I did the hardest step and that deserves a reward.
So within the
Cheers,
date
people.
step, someone was wondering if they can be put in the food processor.
Yeah, so we're going to do it afterwards, after this, to puree it up. I wouldn't, you can before, it's so sticky. It's gets clumped up. It might be a bit of a frustrating exercise. What I would do is just hand chop them before. It won't only take a couple of chops over to get them chopped up, but really it kind of can get really gummy if they're not hydrated before to try to chop them up. So that I wouldn't recommend it, but you don't want to ruin your motor. So listen, today's just going to be a sticky affair no matter what, and we're going to lean into it because that's what the holidays are. It's just having different caramels and butters all over your kitchen. So this guy's here. Next step is I'm going to sift my dry ingredients. Sifting kind of gets, first off, we'll get any lumps out of our flour, but also it will kind of aerate and make our cake a little less dense. So I've got salt, I've got baking powder in here, and I'm just gonna tap it. You can use a large drum sieve. I've always found the amount of sieves I have depends on how large of the kitchen I have. The early days in apartment kitchens with like 4 roommates, the sieve was real tiny, y'all. She was doing a lot of work, that one little sieve. So I'm just gonna tap this. Most of our stuff's out. Got a little bit of salt left in there, so I'm gonna add that in. Sometimes if you use too large granule salt, you can just add it straight in. So that's the dry ingredients. You can use a hand mixer for this next part, a stand mixer if you got it, which I'm gonna use. I'm just gonna bring over here my stand mixer, and I'm gonna cream the butter and brown sugar. So I've got unsalted butter here, room temperature. I worked in product development in a professional food kitchen for a company for years and years and years. We made some boxed baking mixes. One of the most intense back and forth with emails with another developer who was halfway across the country. It was the hardest problem I've ever had. We were trying to figure out why we weren't getting the same results in our kitchen. We finally got in the same place. And do you know what it was? It was the temperature of the butter for room temperature. That is a vastly different definition based on where you are in the country. Some people just leave their butter out and don't put it in the fridge, especially if you're in a colder area. Like, why put it in the fridge? Others always have it in the fridge. And so that's like, okay, what is room temperature? It shouldn't be greasy, but the butter should be soft enough where you put your finger in it and it goes in. If it's really firm, it's gonna not blend in with your ingredients as well. So a trick for me that I do is I'll put my butter on a cutting board and just slice into small bits and spread them out. 15 minutes with the ambient room temperature and those small bits, they soften right away. So you guys do you. How we doing over here, Jen?
There are actually quite a few questions about substitutes.
Yes. I'm just going to add brown sugar into here, and then I want to hear it, please.
Okay. So
we
wondering, one is still with the dates, can you substitute prunes, date paste? People are wondering.
Yeah, I think date paste you can probably try. It's really honestly going to be a trial and error, but I don't see why you couldn't do date paste. I just want it hydrated and go straight. If it's the paste part, you can go straight into the cake. Prunes, I think, would be lovely in here. Absolutely try prunes. Dried figs also. I mean, now we're just talking about figgy pudding. And now we're referencing holiday songs, y'all. So, but yeah, I think different dried fruits, they're not all the same. I think prunes work really well because I want that caramel flavor. I really want that sweet, caramely, almost umami flavor that dates have. So that's really substantial and a big part of this recipe. So as long like raisins, think caramely, that's what you're looking for, okay? So I'm gonna lock this in. And I'm going to push this away just so you guys aren't hearing too loud. But I'm going to do one of the most essential steps of cake making. that I always feel is constantly underdone, which is creaming. Creaming is aerating sugar and a fat together, usually butter, in cookies or cakes. This is what is going to give our lift in our cake. It's what creates from a dense cake to a really fluffy and airy cake. We call that in the pastry biz the crumb. That's the interior of your cake. You want to have a good light crumb. I just sound like Paul Hollywood now on Great British Baking, but you want a nice crumb in there. So a good creaming should take about 3 minutes. It's not 30 seconds. It's not 10 minutes. You can over cream, get too much air in your baked good, and it can collapse. So we're looking here for 3 to 4 minutes. The biggest change you want to see is the color of your butter should get lighter, because that means you sheared enough air into there that you've got a color change. So what is really important with mixing is to stop about halfway and use your spatula. It's important to use your spatula to scrape and kind of scrape off that fat and sugar off the sides and off your paddle. So that's an important step, stopping halfway through. I'm gonna lock it and give it another minute. We've also got some room temperature eggs here, which I'm gonna crack into my bowl. The reason that we're doing room temperature, that's another important bit to know for making cakes, is that if you use cold eggs, what you're doing is then gonna firm up the fat in here, this butter that we've creamed. And it's gonna prevent your ingredients from fully blending together. And that's how you're gonna get little clumps of fat, little clumps of leavener, and then it's not gonna fully mix in. So when making cakes and cookies, having a room temperature ingredients is really important. Just gonna wash my hands real quick. And then we are going to blend our dates here. A little food processor, a blender, an immersion blender, whatever we got. We got a little processor here with an immersion blender on it. Again, if you're using date paste, you don't have to do this. And let me stop this. And just give another little scrape. But if you can see, we've got a lighter color here, and that's what you're looking for. I'm gonna give her another minute. I love that this is brown sugar. It's just kind of reiterating that very caramely flavor. So my dates are almost there. I'm gonna add them in now. I'm gonna add them in along with the water. Can go the full 15 minutes. Since we got a lot to do, I'm just gonna move her along here. But they feel pretty soft to me. I'm keeping the water in there, and I am just gonna blend this up. All the motors going right now, you guys. Beautiful. Love that. Like I said, this is gonna be a messy one. I'm fully prepared for stuff just over all the counters. It's all right. All right, and I'm gonna slow this down and then scrape and add my next ingredients. How are we doing out there, Chef Jen?
Yeah, a couple more substitution questions.
Please.
So people are wondering about using light brown if you don't have dark brown sugar, and if you need to add molasses if you just use a light brown.
I think light will be fine if you don't have molasses. If I'm gonna go ahead and add an egg one at a time and blend it in here. If you all don't know, this is a very important substitution just until it's mixed, and then I'll add the next egg. If you don't have brown sugar, but you have granulated sugar and you have molasses, you can make a faux brown sugar by adding 1 tablespoon of molasses to 1 cup granulated sugar. Mix it around, that gives you 1 cup of light brown sugar. For dark brown sugar, go 2 tablespoons molasses. So if you want a quick tip there, that has saved me more times than I can say is knowing that trick. Because we buy molasses this time of year for gingerbread Maybe you're making a barbecue sauce once over the summer, and then molasses just kind of lives in your cupboard and is waiting for you to remember it's there. So it is a good trick to remember that you can do that. Adding the next egg in, just until it's mixed. So absolutely, but I think light brown sugar would be fine. I don't want to cheat us out on any moisture, any caramel notes. And the more molasses you got, the more caramel notes you got. Stop this. Now I'm going to add in a little vanilla extract. Mix that around. And then this next part I'm going to do by hand because I don't want to overmix this batter. If you overmix, what's going to happen is you're going to get a really tough cake. And we work so hard to cream the butter, and we work so hard to sift that flour that I don't want to ruin it now. So I'm just going to give it a little mix. I'm going to add my last of my date mixture into here. It smells incredible. So going to add this mix.
Jenny, another substitution question. People are wondering, or at least one person is wondering about using different flour alternatives like coconut or almond flour.
Yeah, play around with it. I actually think because of the fiber and the texture that the dates give, that this would be an excellent option to try with alternative flours. I really love Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour blend. It's a great blend. So if you're wanting to try something gluten-free, that's a good one to do. But yeah, it's one of those things you just kind of have to try it out and see. It might not have as much structure when you take it out of the pan, but again, you're drowning this thing in toffee sauce, so it might not be a problem. And then I'm just going to fold in here my dry ingredients. And you can do this with the mixer, but I much rather do this by hand just to prevent it from getting overmixed and kind of folding in my dry ingredients gently, not stirring too much. It's got this beautiful golden color from the dates. So keep going, stirring, and that's our beautiful batter here. So I've got some mini little loaf pans. That I have greased with a little spray. And you know what? If you've got it, use our new stove doesn't like when we put stuff on there. If I can find it, you know what? We're just gonna use this. If you've got a scooper, like a measured scooper that you can use for ice cream, but you also can use for cupcakes, that would be a great thing to use here to make sure you're getting even size. I can kind of eyeball it enough. We're looking for 3/4 up. So not halfway, you want a little more than halfway in here.
Hey, Chef Jenny, does the size of those muffin pans, is there a name for that size?
Yeah, this is a silicone size. I don't know actually if that's a great question. I would say this is maybe 3 inches across in diameter. You guys are gonna hate this answer because I know we want specifics here, but the batter will work in whatever muffin tin you got. You just need the center to be pretty firm, and when you put a toothpick in the center, it comes out clean. So you're looking for it to spring back and to be fully cooked. Whatever form you use, that's the goal. So you can use smaller muffin tins, you can use the minis, little cupcake tins, whatever you want. Just as long as you adjust the bake time until it's, if you're using smaller than this, then I would start checking it after maybe 15 minutes. So I'm gonna spread this along evenly. Because I'm on camera right now, I'm not eating this, but like the urge to lick the batter is overwhelming. But then once you work in food science, which I have, you start thinking about raw batter. Then I'm like, no, don't you do it. It's not worth it, y'all. All right, that's pretty good. It smells incredible. Now, if you wanted to, into your dry ingredients, I'm gonna take this and just give it a little shake, trying to get these guys a little even. Do you see how that kind of flattened it out a little bit? And with silicone, I always put it on a tray. I'm gonna put this in a 350-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll take them out. And that's our cakes. How are we feeling out there, everyone? Questions? Tell me.
Well, one person had a question about any adjustments you might need to make if you're at a high altitude.
Oh, now we're getting into real baking witchcraft. It depends on your altitude. Honestly, with this, just make sure it's done. So it's more important to focus on what it looks like when it's done. You should start getting an aroma from the oven. You should have a little spring back from the dough. It shouldn't be jiggly, and when you stick a toothpick in the center, it should come out clean. That's what you're looking for. So it's more important to understand what we're looking for than a specific time. Anytime in culinary school, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is like when you hear yourself say something your parents told you to your kids. But like in culinary school, I would always ask, but how long does it take? And they'll never tell you how long. They're like, when it's done. And then you're like, oh, because they want you to learn how to look for it. And I just did that, and I apologize, everyone. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of tea. Oh yeah. Now we're cooking. All right, so that's in the oven. Next step, we're gonna make ourselves a little creme anglaise. So I'm gonna turn on my stove here to medium heat my pot. Once again, this induction stove and I are gonna try to be friends. There we go. So this is not a place for you. I know we're all trying to be good, but I'm gonna really discourage you against trying to cut calories here. This is creme anglaise. This is a custard sauce. She need all the fat, okay? If I was ever gonna get a face tattoo, it'd just be all the fat right here. That's the one thing I believe in most of in life, all the fat. So we are going heavy whipping cream. We are going whole milk, all the fat. So we're starting with our dairy, and we're gonna bring it up to a simmer. This is a very classic pastry sauce that we're making, creme anglaise. It's kind of almost like a mother sauce in the pastry world. Because as we're making this, you will see, this is a cold dessert sauce. After we're finished, you can churn it in an ice cream maker, and that's vanilla ice cream. As we're making this, if you added cornstarch to it, to thicken it up, that's pastry cream. So this one technique, you get a lot of different recipes out of it. So while my dairy is coming up to simmer, again, don't scald it. We're not trying to bring it to a boil. I just got this over here. I've got some sugar. I got some egg yolks. And I'm going to mix the sugar and the egg yolks together. When you're trying to separate for egg whites, that's when you need to be really delicate. Egg whites won't whip if you have any fat in there, any yolk. But if egg yolks have some egg white in it, that's okay. It's not fair that the rules don't apply. You can make meringues with your egg whites. Don't toss your egg whites. Throw them in the omelet in the morning. Egg whites freeze really well too. So put them in a freezer-safe dish and use them for angel food cake, for any kind of pastries in the future. Do not toss egg whites. That's good stuff. And they absolutely freeze beautifully. So do you see how I have that got a little light air on there? That sugar and those egg yolks are mixed together. This is gonna be my base. If I added all of this into here, this is my analytical brain and my lazy brain is always asking, why couldn't we have just done this all in the pot? Why are we having to separate this? If you add your egg yolks in here, you're gonna get scrambled eggs. So we're actually gonna practice here a very well-known pastry technique called tempering. This is where we take hot liquid from the stove, slowly drizzle it into our ingredients off the stove, and that will then slowly bring up the temperature of our eggs. It's when you shock them that they're gonna start to curdle. Nobody wants vanilla bean scrambled eggs. I've eaten worse things. I'm just saying that's not the goal. So no judgment, like you do you guys, whatever happens. But you can see it's coming to a simmer here. And then this is where my lack of hand-eye coordination really becomes apparent. So I have to say out loud, mix with one hand, then slowly pour in with the other. Because I'm agitating it, I'm keeping it moving, I'm keeping it from curdling. That first one's always the most dodgy one, you know? It's that one where things are gonna go wrong. But then, I can now take my second ladle. I can go in a little quicker here. She's slowly coming up to temp. Maybe do one more. And this is how we slowly bring up the temperature of our egg yolks. And now that we've done that, I'm gonna pour this whole thing into my simmering pot. And with a wooden spoon, I'm now gonna move it around. Agitating, keeping it moving is the most important step here, because then we won't form curdles. So I'm just scraping the bottom. I highly recommend a food thermometer here, because it is raw eggs. We're wanting to get to at least 165 degrees. But there's kind of a range somewhere roughly between 165, 185. The hotter you go, the more those proteins are gonna coagulate, the thicker the sauce you're gonna have. So then it's kind of just up a personal preference of how thick you want. The biggest one that they teach you, which always was like, hey, I don't want to burn my fingers, but this is what they tell you in pastry school, is to take your finger and drag it across the back of the spoon. And if it leaves a clear line, that means that your sauce is thick enough. I'm a scientist. I'm like, why wouldn't we just use the thermometer? What are we doing here? So you do you. I've got a thermometer. Right now, it's already at 170. So my sauce is there. I don't know if you guys can see how thick it is. Come on. Who doesn't want to take a bath in custard? This is like my favorite thing. Custard desserts are my number one. So the fact that we have a custard sauce with a really sweet, moist date cake, like I'm at a 10 right now, y'all. Okay, let's see it. Let's make my professors at the Culinary Institute proud. You see that? Ah, did you see the line? I'm out of here, guys. It's been great class with you. I'll see you later. That's the only thing I needed to accomplish today was to get the line. Yes, that's such a, why is that still a sense of accomplishment? I'm looking for my culinary professors right now. Look, I did it. I need the validation. So, you're perfect and everything you do is perfect. But nature, she finds a way, right? So there might be little coagulates on the bottom of here. Are they gonna kill you? No, they're fine. But for a texture experience for a sauce, we want a thin sauce, right? So if you've got another strainer, if you've got a kitchen big enough for a second strainer, we're gonna take this and strain it off the heat. And you can see, I'm perfect. I've never done anything wrong in my life before, ever, but there is little, can you see? There's little coagulates in the bottom here. Again, totally fine, but we strain it and now our sauce is really beautiful. So this is when I add flavors. We add flavors off the heat because a lot of flavors, we're literally using alcohol, it evaporates really quickly with heat, and then we lose our flavor. So this is why a lot of pastry recipes, candy recipes will tell you added off the heat. So we're adding off the heat. So I've got, I think what sponsors the holidays, rum. I've got some rum here. I like a little dark rum. You use your favorite rum of choice. Adding that in here. And there is residual heat in here, so it'll evaporate off. If you don't do alcohol, absolutely okay. You do not have to add rum in here. A little maple syrup would be a nice substitute for that. Got a little maple syrup, add that in here. And then my favorite ingredient, I'm not like, I like handed out vanilla bean paste to people here at work. That's how much I love vanilla bean paste. I have vanilla bean paste here, which is what you can use for 1-to-1 substitution of vanilla extract. If you got vanilla extract, add it in. But the paste is ground up with the seeds in there, and so you get the little speckles of seeds, which I love. You got yourself a vanilla bean at home. When we were simmering the milk and cream on the stove, you could have split your bean and added that into there, and that would have infused it with vanilla too. So there's a lot of ways to get vanilla into a sauce. I just love that the paste gives you those little speckles of vanilla bean. Rum is good. Custard is good. Nothing, it's all winners. We only added winter. Heavy cream and whole milk are pretty good too. So remind yourself, if this looks intimidating, it's so hard to mess up because all these things are delicious. Add a little more vanilla bean paste in here. You can easily make this the day before. So if you want to serve this during the holidays, this chills beautifully. And in fact, I highly recommend chilling this sauce. You can serve it warm, but we're gonna have a warm pudding with a warm toffee sauce on top. So having that contrast of a cold chilled sauce also kind of balances out. So if I put this in an ice cream, cool it down first, you can run it in an ice cream machine and then you got yourself vanilla ice cream. If I had added cornstarch in the pot when we mixed it in the second time, this would be thick like vanilla pudding and I would have pastry cream. So creme anglaise, y'all, it's a real treat. I'm getting fancy. I'm getting fancy because it's the holidays and we got ourselves some British tea. So I'm putting my sauce in a nice little pourer here. I'm putting on airs for y'all. Homemakers, you know me too much. You know I would just drink this like a milkshake out of the bowl, but for newbies here, I'm fancy all the time. So cheers to y'all. I'm having another sip of tea. Jen, how are we doing out there? How's everyone doing?
Great. People are having fun. There was a question about whether you could, they heard that you could use melted high quality vanilla ice cream as a substitute for creme anglaise.
Do you know who started this? My queen, my high priestess of pastry, Ina Garten. She, on her show on Barefoot Contested like ages ago, I'm pretty sure it was Ina, had said with really high quality vanilla ice cream, if you just let it melt in the fridge, like keep it in the fridge, but let it melt, you've got instant creme anglaise. The thing here to use is really high quality ice cream that has a really clean ingredient statement. So you don't want a bunch of gums or artificial flavors there. You want a really good ice cream. But yeah, she totally backtracked it, which makes sense. Melted ice cream is creme anglaise. I mean, who knew, right? You guys have been fancy this whole time. You didn't know when you were getting your frosty cones that you were already consuming creme anglaise. It's the best. I love custard sauces. Don't you, Jen? Are you a custard sauce girl?
I pretty much love everything sweet and creamy.
Sweet. That's what we should be calling this show, is Sweet and Creamy. Gosh darn it, that's a great name. Okay, creme anglaise done. My cakes, they're cooking. One sauce isn't enough because we work hard and it's the end of the year and we all deserve 2 sauces. So we're going another sauce here. So now we're making, I think, as delicious as the cake is, I feel this is the most identifying part of sticky toffee pudding. This is the sticky and the toffee is our toffee sauce. So Try not to obsess about how much butter I'm adding in here, but I am adding a whole stick of butter. And I'm adding some brown sugar again. And I'm adding, not cream, heavy cream, y'all. Heavy cream. The good stuff. The only stuff I'm using in December. Heavy cream. Heavy being the word. It's got all the fat, all right? And then I'm going to add vanilla to this. We're just making ourselves some toffee here, y'all. This is a fantastic sauce that also goes delicious on apple pie. That goes great on top of, honestly, I like toffee and chocolate together. I think it would be really nice with like chocolate fudgy cake, with poached pears, a tire. There's nothing this isn't gonna taste good on, okay? We got a whole stick of butter. We've got brown sugar. We got heavy cream. 5 minutes. We're gonna get a little boil and then bring it down and simmer this for 5 minutes. How easy is this? That's all we're doing here. This again will keep in the fridge for a couple days. So an easy dish. If you didn't want to do creme anglaise, you could have actual ice cream and do your sticky toffee pudding ice cream and then pour this over it. If you wanted it to be tea flavored, you could simmer your cream with the tea bag and infuse that tea in the cream and then have a tea infused toffee sauce, which I think would be pretty delicious. I think I got distracted like Doug from the movie Up because I see something shiny and I stop halfway talking. But I wanted to go back to the cake. If you wanted to add some caramely notes to the cake, you can also do any array of spices in that dry flour that you want. Cinnamon, star anise, allspice, clove, nutmeg, ginger, those warm, cozy spices. You know those spices I'm talking about? You can add those into your dry mix in this cake and even knock it up. You could add to the creme anglaise. You could even sprinkle some when this is off the heat in the toffee sauce. So this is kind of permission to play around and just have fun. Orange zest would be lovely in any places here. So if you don't want rum, bourbon would be really beautiful. Brandy would be really beautiful. So this is one where it's a great base recipe and play around. Look, I want to live in here. Look how beautiful that looks. Since we've got a minute of just mixing here, I want to again point out tellyusa.com. They is one of the oldest tea companies around. It's been around since 1837 and was founded by two brothers. So I love that it starts a family business. They make the tea. Operate out of Yorkshire, which to Americans it sounds so charming. Like, oh, Yorkshire, it feels so cute. I love it. And they've got what I really love about company websites that do it right are ones that give you a really thorough history about tea, about their operations. They even go into the details of how long and how much training it takes to become an official tea taster in the company. It's very, very cool. So check out their website if you're just kind of wanting, this is sparking some curiosity out of tea because they've done a really beautiful job with it. What's your favorite fact off of there, Jen? Because I know you were looking at it before.
Yeah, there's lots of great information about like how to make a great cup of tea, how to store tea correctly, the importance of starting with cold water, things like that.
I mean, I think that's the one I was like, oh yeah, how long am I supposed to steep tea for? You think you know how to make tea, and then you start to go for it, and you're like, oh wait, what do I do here? Yeah, so they have different steeping times for different teas. Did you know that green tea and black tea have different steeping times? I did not until like it past 24 hours. So that was good information to learn, y'all. Jen and I were talking before class of, we go through something here. We're out of Seattle. Pacific Northwest goes through something called the Big Dark, which is once it hits winter, the sun has left the building. She gone. She's on vacation. She's not coming back till next year. We rarely see the sun now. So the instant it's dark, and like when it's dark by 4 p.m., it's tea weather. I don't know how else to describe it. It's cozy tea weather. I need to have a blanket around me at all times, and I need to have tea. So this is like the time when I'm drinking tea the most. Do you drink tea year round, Jen? Are you a tea weather person like me with the big dark?
Yeah, I like tea at night. I like anything I can put a little cream in, so I really do like the
that's an important question. Are you a milk or cream in your tea person?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like they live in different places. I don't know why my brain thinks that, but I know the British way is to have it with a little milk or cream, but with chai or kind of spiced teas, then I'm like, okay, it's a party. Then I want all this stuff. But just having a cup of tea, I'm a lemon wedge person. If I need a little spot of honey. That's how I'm in. But both valid ways. There's no wrong way to have tea. I like that you went with cream and not milk too, Jen. That is gangster. That's right. You're like, no, cream. Full fat cream. Okay, this looks beautiful. I've got my vanilla here. Again, I'm using more of that vanilla paste. If you're using vanilla extract, take it off the heat. Again, extract's gonna evaporate out. So I got a little bit of my vanilla bean paste here. I'm just gonna stir her in. Yeah. If you want a little pinch of salt to make this a salted toffee sauce, go for it. Again, you can add all the kind of flavorings you want here. But because we have rum and the creme anglaise, I don't really feel like adding much else to this. If I didn't have rum and the creme anglaise, I might add like a dash of bourbon in here. Because those are the December vibes we're giving right now. Everything gets a little dash of bourbon or run, all right? I'm gonna go check the cakes. This is a very exciting moment. Let's see. Oh, they look so good. Guys, I wish you could smell it. It smells unbelievable in here right now. Unbelievable. Okay. I need to get myself a little place to put these bad boys. I think I'll go right up here. They're springing back, which is exactly what I needed. Huge caramely aroma right now. Smells fantastic. Come on, look at these guys.
Beautiful. Jenny, could you talk about the thickness of the sticky toffee sauce?
Yeah. Got some of that moisture evaporated out of the cream. If you all can see here, if I can pour that, I'm trying to think of a good way. You know what a good way is? Okay. Back of the spoon. Do you see how that spoon scraped a little bit? It's thick enough to scrape the back of a spoon. So about 4 to 5 minutes, you want that water on low, simmering off. So let me see, I'm gonna work on getting, oh my God, the first one came out on its own. You didn't know this, but I was having a panic attack the whole time, wondering, is it gonna come out? I don't know. I guess we'll just say it's still good. Victory! The sticky toffee pudding gods are on my side. So this, delicious. But I'm warning you now, it's about to get insane. So are we all ready for insanity? It's about to get insane. I need I'm like talking ladle here. That's what I need. Okay. Toffee sauce right on top because I want the toffee sauce absorbing into the pudding. Chef Jenny, 2 scoops seems like a lot. No, it doesn't. It's the right amount. Watch this. I'm going for 3. I want it suffocating in toffee. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm looking for. And then I'm taking my beautiful creme anglaise and I'm just gonna pour it around the edge. So the cake is almost like floating in an island of custard. Island of Custard, title of my memoir. Look at this. Yes. Okay. I cut into it. And what you can see here, I'm trying to get the best camera angle for y'all, is this like delicious. Do you see that? How it's kind of jiggly because it's so moist? It's not raw. It's just got such a spring to it because we creamed it so well. It's saturated in the sauce. I'm coming over here. Everyone, it's getting all the sauce. It needs to be drenched. I almost feel like this is private and maybe I should go, but it's happening. Cheers to you all. I hope your puddings are as good as this one. Pudding dance. It's so much sugar this late and I don't care. Oh, I love sticky toffee pudding. It's so caramelly. The cake is really moist and it's sucked up all the toffee and the custard. So when you have it, it just springs and like releases toffee in your mouth. 10 out of 10. No notes. Perfection. It's the best. Look at Lena's, everyone. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. She was more appropriately modest with the amount of sauce and custard because you're an adult, and well done. That's probably how you should do it. I am forever a child, mental child, and I will always saturate things in fat and sugar if I can. Well done, Lena. Beautiful. All the vibes. Nice, nice. Let's say, oh my gosh, look at that one on a Christmas plate. Look at that. Nice job. Oh, you guys crushed it. Crushed it. Beautiful. Well done. Chef Jen, thank you so much for being here. Big up for Chef Jen. It's like her second class, y'all, and she crushed it. Yes. Any final questions we got out there from the people?
One person wondered about serving this room temperature.
The cake? The cake can be room temperature because if your sauce is hot, the toffee sauce is hot, it'll kind of warm it up. I would not serve custard at room temperature. I would keep that chilled or serve it freshly hot. And the toffee sauce should be served hot. But I feel like these are best flavor fresh. But if you want to make these earlier in the day and then kind of reheat them with the sauce, that's fine. What I will say is out of molds or out of the muffin tins, take them out when they're warm. Give them a couple minutes to firm up, but the longer they sit, they might get stuck in here. Still edible, but a bit. I saw another one on the top there, that beautiful cake I saw. Well done. Look at that. Yes, look. Nice job. Right on. Friends, we're doing it. We're surviving December. We're all here together. Well done. We want to thank the incredible people at LAT. We're so proud to partner with them, and we want to thank them for this recipe and the delicious tea. We hope you're teeing it up. We hope you're eating all the cake and toffee sauce, and hope to see you here tomorrow I will be teaching a porchetta class, which is a rolled Italian pork roast. And then next week we have a citrus salmon and smashed fingerling potato class on Monday. So all the stuff. Hope to see you then. Until next time, friends, keep on cooking. Thanks for coming, everyone.